Thank you for tuning in once again, my faithful listeners. With the morning music over, it's time now for the afternoon radio news, your only source for the latest goings-on in the post-apocalyptic wasteland we call home. Today is Monday, the 12th of April by the studio calendar I made up, and we're live at the bottom of the hour with the weather. With Ennis Melina gone and the last of her rains trailing off, the floods have begun to recede. Each passing hour reveals more of the devastation dealt to the unfortunate settlements lost in the torrential waters of her wrath. More on this later. There's a chance the rain will stop entirely later tonight, though we suffer through light rain for the rest of the day. The pollen continues to plague us figuratively and literally, growing thicker as the rain dissipates. There's a high of 68 degrees Celsius this afternoon, a low tonight of minus 35 C. Moving on from the weather. I'd like to begin with our top story, the conflict between the AMM, the NSD, and WM. In the wake of yesterday's massacre committed by the AMM, WM has made a public declaration of war against AMM. Hundreds of refugees have rallied to Oakland to lend aid, and the NSD has declared the AMM a Security Threat Group, or STG. The NSD has been in direct communication with Oakland regarding this incident. Today, at a speech outside of Oakland, delivered by Sheriff Burt Rockley, who was joined on stage by Oakland's elected leader, Patrick Oliver, the sheriff had this to say. What occurred on yesterday, the murder of those poor suffering folk, that isn't just. Them folks were looking for the kindness and humanity that we all claim to cling to, when they got desperate and started acting like it. The Atomic Mandrel Militia decided it was time to fire. Killed 1,470 people. 70 of them being officers of my department, trying to keep the peace and help these folks. Then, 1,400 refugees, who didn't do nothing but try to survive, all gunned down by AMM soldiers. Then they had the audacity to say it was necessary, the gall to say the NSD better not get in their way. Their hubris demands our immediate action. So it is with the goal of justice and keeping the peace of our wasteland that the NSD has teamed up with Wasteland Mercy to dethrone the tyrants. The NSD is deputizing any member of Wasteland Mercy who chooses to join the cause. We will train them, equip them, and together remove this evil from our home. In summation, the NSD has joined WM in an alliance, declaring war on the AMM. The NSD has dispatched an unknown number of officers to Oakland, beginning intensive training and preparation for the grueling battles to come. Unfortunately, since their arrival, it has been difficult to receive information from our sources there. This is neither the NSD nor WM should like their progress broadcasted publicly. From this moment on, information regarding the NSD and WM will only be public statements released to us by their official sources. In addition, the NSD has declared that WM is no longer to be considered an STG, no longer to be considered a band of bandits, but is, from this day on, a settlement under the protection of the NSD. In response to this alliance, the AMM has declined to comment. However, sources near their training facilities have reported increased activity. This implying, but not confirming, the AMM has ramped up training to better prepare for the fighting. As an aside, I should like to offer my thoughts. The circumstances of these events are tragic, and I wish only the best for those now suffering. I hope the AMM pays for this heinous crime. Yet war, I had hoped, was a fact of life left in the world that was. I will not say that the NSD and WM are wrong to seek justice, but I cannot help but think another way exists, that a better way could be found, though I admit I am not clever enough to know what that way is. So I may only hope that when peace and mercy become an option, they are taken without hesitation. We'll be back after these commercial messages. Good evening, Jenny. Before we begin the commercial session, I need to have a word with you. I've checked the archives again. I know I've mentioned this before, but you absolutely must remember to trim these audio sessions down. We're aiming for a smooth transition from the broadcast to sponsored ads and back again. I don't mean to pester you, but it is vitally important. Are we clear? Wonderful. Shall we begin? First ad for Mr. Neil Watts. I'm glad he's doing well. We didn't charge him, did we? Well, refund the man. He's doing a service to the wasteland. I think the least we can do is give him a little publicity. Right. Mr. Watts, take one. Hello, my name is Neil Watts. I'm a historian. Well, a modern historian. I'm collecting the stories of people from around the wasteland, their lives, experiences, and lessons learned from now and before the incident. I think history will look back on what we're doing now, and I would like to make sure that the individuals of now aren't forgotten. So if you're in Green Court or maybe passing through sometime soon, I've set up a stall outside of Robotic Hands. Also, if this ad does get on the radio, I want to say hello to Amanda and Zorro. Mr. Neil Watts is far too gentle and kind a soul. I hope he remains safe in this cruel wasteland. What's the next ad? What do you mean there are no other ads? We have 30 seconds of air to fill on the next broadcast, and we still need to pay our staff. We need that ad revenue. Fine, but I refuse to have dead air. I'll make my own advertisement. Are you a business in need of business? Do you provide a service or product that people need to know about? Are you having issues getting the word about your stuff around the dangerous wasteland? Well, have I got news for you. We here at P.A.N.R. are willing to air your advertisement. For reasonable prices, you can spread the good word of your shop, service, or cult across the little corner of the post-apocalyptic wasteland we call home, courtesy of yours truly. So write us a letter, and we'll get the ball rolling. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to P.A.N.R., the post-apocalyptic news radio. We're live and back from commercial with more of the latest goings-on in the post-apocalyptic wasteland we call home. Our next story, plague. Yesterday we informed you of the phenomenon of Flood Pollen, or FP. It has been determined that the problem lies with a virus that the nuclear storm introduced that has adapted to survive rather well on pollen and mutated rather terribly to eliminate humans. Fortunately, animals seem immune to the disease's effects. Now, I will not pretend to be a doctor or a scientist. I cannot explain how this virus works. I cannot explain how to treat it, and I cannot explain how it came to be. I'm simply not clever enough. The information I do endeavor to provide on FP is information delivered to me by scattered researchers in the wasteland. I endeavor to keep all reports on FP as accurate as possible, and as new information on this virus becomes available or changes, you will be informed immediately. As of present, what I've stated is the only new information available. We here at the studio encourage you to remain indoors, limit exposure to the pollen, and go out only in full body protection. The virus need only make contact with the skin to infect you. You must act as though pollen is radiation whenever you must leave your home. To those already infected, you have my deepest sympathies. I won't sugarcoat it. You know I've always been a straight shooter, always on the up and up. In all reported cases thus far, I regret to inform you, all infected persons have perished. You will likely fall to the virus. I implore you keep your chin up, and make the remaining days the best you are able. We at the studio should like to make a request. If you, or anybody that you know, is infected, we at the studio should like to ask that you please send their names to us. We should like to honor them in some small way. In other less grim news, yet more disturbing, the floods of N.S. Melina have been subsiding. We now can see the haunting remains of settlements as the water recedes. I must first say, these settlements are not habitable. They are far too irradiated and damaged. I implore you consider carefully if you intend to enter any previously flooded area. That said, we did ask one of our sources, who was bold enough to risk everything to visit these areas. The things he reported on were unbelievable, to say the least. As we've been unable to verify his story, I ask that the following information be taken with some amount of skepticism. On exploring the ruins of Fig Field, our source Jeremy Jones made a startling discovery, reporting rudimentary stone and shell tools and weapons found among the debris, along with webbed footprints and straw carcasses half devoured. Homes appeared to be looted, and there were signs of habitation. Unfortunately, that's all that Mr. Jones was able to give us. He went missing while on this assignment, and we have been unable to make contact with him again. To anyone who may have information on his whereabouts or his fate, there is a reward for any helpful information. Now I regret to inform you that our cooking segment, Afternoon Puzzler, and Miss Bean's Box have all three been put on hold for the time being. When things calm down a bit, these segments will return. Moving on. It's no secret that this world is a dangerous place. People have grown desperate and taken to helping themselves to your stuff when you're least prepared. Stay ready. Stay informed with the latest reported bandit movements. From our anonymous sources, we're aware of no confirmed bandit groups active in the area. Our sources have indicated that they have all fallen victim to Flood Pollen, reporting the bodies all along the mountain. They also declare a crimson banner flying on the mountain, with a symbol not dissimilar from the giant irradiated silverfish known as sharks. It is unclear where this banner comes from, as it is neither the color nor the symbol of any of the three bandit groups previously active on the mountain. When the pollen lightens, it is our intention to investigate further, but for now this is all the information we have on the matter. I believe that this small amount of good news is one of the more welcome pieces in today's radio broadcast. With the sea of tragedy we're all facing now, it is nice to know that at the very least we do not have to worry about these particular groups any longer. Now, I regret to inform you that that's all the time we have for today. Things are getting much more dangerous now than ever before, more dangerous now than even the events leading up to the incident. I must implore you maintain hope, and hold fast to the humanity and love in your hearts, for with these three qualities, all is never truly lost. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back shortly with the evening radio music. Until then, if you're truly out there listening, good luck.